Hi everyone, and welcome to another collection video, and this one really is going to be a bit of a strange quick old journey through the midst of time, because this is basically the best of the rest of my consoles, apart from PS2, PS1, PS2, PS3, Xbox Original and Xbox 360 and the Wii, which I'm not going to do because I've got massive amounts of those games. And the Wii U. The GameCube one I may do at some point, but at the moment it's not pressing. I need to do these ones out of the way so I can sort of move some stuff out of the game pantry and into somewhere else. Just so you're aware, we have quite self-explanatory Taz Express running on the N64 as Chef's Choice this week, which yeah, it's a fun little game. That nothing spectacular, but it's got the Tasmanian Devil in it, and hopefully does a bit more than just run in a straight line. Otherwise, that might be really dull to have in the background. Oh, but he's moving across. There we go. And he's after Wile E. Coyote. Interesting. Right, yeah, so basically this is going to be quite a whistle-stop tour, because these two consoles I'm about to show you games for, I don't have a lot of games at all. Hardly any. But they both sort of like... Well, firstly, this one has an absolute... says I before everything else falls out of the box. Oh, come on. There we go. This one... Oh, there we go. It did fall out. Because it's bloody... Why is it bloody connected to that? Oh, dear. Right, excuse me a second. I say about working with animals, children and retro bears. That's what it is. That's because the bloody power panel's massive for it. There we go. Oh, sorry about all that. Multitude of wires on the floor as always. Right, yeah, so what I've got here is the very first console that I had. Not the very first one, because we got rid of that ages ago. But this is the very first one I had. This is what introduced me. You can see it there, can't you? There we go, I'll just show you. It's the old VCS. Atari VCS. And this is the classic model, the one that everybody talks about when they talk about old games. Oh, did you have an Atari when you were a kid? Yeah. Oh, was it the wooden one? Yeah. Not really wood, it's veneer. But you get what we're getting at. And this was just how it was. In goes the old cartridge into there, and then you've got the power button on off. You can have colour or black and white. That was always interesting. 2 levels of difficulty. On the left hand side, 2 levels of difficulty on the right hand side, and you just press that up and down. It was sort of like you'll see a number of games on there, like, you know, a game like 30 or 40 games. Just go click, 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 and scan through to the one you wanted. And then if you really got fed up with it, just reset the game. Brilliant idea, brilliant idea. Let's have a look round the back. So strangely enough, the controller points are at the back of it, which I seem to now remember to think how silly was that. And right in the middle was the power cable. Because obviously you're not going to play the games behind the console, are you? You're going to play them on the front. So the idea now, pretty much every single console after that stuck their controllers on the front, because it was much easier to do it. For those of you interested in these sort of things, this is the model number Charlie X-Ray CX 20-2600P for Papa. And the serial number is 5494283772. All the bits and pieces on the bottom are intact. This was actually a gift which somebody who I don't... He's not a friend of mine anymore now, but they did buy me this for Christmas the one year. Was it my birthday? I can't quite remember. But yeah, and I don't think it's one of the heavier ones. You may know something. There's some weight to it. Seems like there's more than there's just heavy plastic or not. I don't know. I know some people. There are certain versions which are heavier, which I don't know how it's going to do with it. But yeah, that just brings it all back, doesn't it? That just, you know, if your first gaming memory was that, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, many years ago, I had so many games for this. We used to get games from sort of the Saver Centre, which I think was sort of like Sainsbury's sort of variant, and that was the main place. We'd have more. We'd have Pac-Man, we'd have Donkey Kong, we'd have Smurf. You remember Smurf with that annoying music that should go around. Frostbite was probably my favourite game, because I played that to absolute death and recorded such a high score you could send in for a badge, except I recorded my high score many years after you could send a badge in. But a friend of my dad's did. He managed to get a badge out of it, and they had a console as well. They had exactly the same thing. So they had games like Kangaroo, Sky Skipper, Keystone Capers, that was another great game. What was the other one they had as well? Circus Atari, which my late mum used to love so much, because it was just a concept of like two people bouncing on a seesaw, knocking the balloons out of the sky, and if you didn't catch the one guy, he'd end up sort of lying flat on his back on the floor and his legs dangling, and that used to make her laugh so much. So that was the only time I can ever see her ever playing a computer game. My dad was slightly different. You know, he played things like Gettysburg and Emotion later on, but my mum never played games beyond that, really. But yeah, we had so many games for it. Eventually we sold our VCS. Well, I sold our VCS, Del Boy-esque, to a friend of mine at school. I think I sold him the console, the paddles, the controllers, and all the games for about 25-30 quid. And then his brothers went and stole it off him and sold it elsewhere. So God knows what happened to that. And the thing about VCS as well, they're very, very difficult to tune onto modern televisions. I've got two TVs. This one behind me won't work with it, because this was my main telly downstairs until we upgraded a couple of years back. So this is sort of runs out, and the heat is coming off this thing is incredible. That's why it's so warm. If I've got the door open, you can hear a fan blowing in the background. That's why. So yeah, it's keep coming off things. Well, I've got an older 32-inch LCD which that works on. So it's something to do with the frequency and whatever. You have to fiddle around with certain things. I've only got 2 games for it, and it's absolutely criminal. I don't know why I've just got the 2, when actually loose cartridges are very easy to pick up for it, and they're not that expensive. If you want the box stuff, then yeah, you're going to pay a bit more for it. But there are so many sort of loose cartridges knocking around for a couple of quid, and I really should get a few more for it, or at least try and get a lot of the games I had back in the day. I hate using that term, back in the day, but there we go. So the one I've got, which probably everybody's got all these games. Everybody's got these 2 games for it. First one's Combat. Everybody's got Combat. If you've got a Atari 2600, games 1 to 5 are Tank, 6 to 9 are Tank Pong, which is curling shots or bouncing shots off the wall. I'm pretty sure Tank's also got an invisible mode, which is really funny because you've got no idea where you're going until you actually hit something or hit somebody. It's really fun. That's the Invisible Tank, 10 to 14. 15 to 20 is Biplane, and 21 to 27 is Jet Fighter. They are quite good. The idea with the biplane and the biplane especially is you have 2 or 3 planes, and just by moving the joystick around, you're controlling those 2 planes. It's really good fun. You've got some clouds and whatever you can sort of duck behind. You used to have great fun with those. Jet Fighters are really hard to control. If you don't know what you're doing, they really are. Get out of the way. But yeah, we had that back in the day in the box. Lovely game, that one. But everybody knows that. The great thing about the 2600 artwork is just amazing. You'll see off the front of this one. This was their conversion of that all-time classic, which is Space Invaders. Again, I had this one originally. I used to play so much that I actually developed a blister on the inside of my thumb there from the Atari 2600 controller. Horrible rubber joystick it was. But yeah, I took the skin off there because I was playing it that much. But again, different modes on this one. You know, you have a thin defence mode or a fat one. You had invisible invaders. You also had sometimes you had defence in front of you, sometimes you didn't. Oh, it was just great fun going back and forth. And actually, I think these are 2 quite close together games, aren't they? Yeah, so cartridge number 2601 and cartridge number 2632. But yeah, again, great game. Again, the lovely thing that Atari did as well was they put the names on the bottom. So if you are trying to stack up cartridges, it's dead easy to do that because you can see what they are. Really clever idea, that. But yeah, so many memories just from those 2 games. The only 2 games I've got for it. I've got the controller and what have you, a giant power pack which nearly decapitated the N64, but don't worry about that. Just really, really great fun, and it started me off playing games. It hooked me for life. What more can you say about that? Now the other console I'm going to show you, which you can probably just see to my bottom corner here, is I've had this out before, if you pardon the expression. Is something which again I don't share a lot of affinity to. It's a bit of not the greatest example of it, but it is an NES. And that's not Perception. This is a giant size NES. It's not the NES Mini, because you can do that with it. And it's a great hulking piece of weighty plastic which doesn't have an awful lot going for it. It's not my idea choice of colour. I mean, you look at the Atari, that came out before this. That looks really smart. And then when Atari not revolutionised it, cut that down. It was like still a silver and black console with some rainbow striping on it. It was rebranded, really, really good. This is what Nintendo came up with, which is basically a grey and black box monstrosity. This is lighter than the 2600, which, when you think about it, it looks absolutely ridiculous. It's got that at the top there, which where you slide your cartridges in and then push them down. It's got the power and the reset button on the front. It's also got the controller ports at the front, which was a good idea. No ventilation on it. Oh, some vents at the bottom there, but there's not an awful amount to go going on with. All the suction pads at the bottom are still in place. There we go. For those of you interested, this is the model number NESE-001. There is a Mattel version, which is this is the Nintendo NES version. There is a Mattel version, which is much rarer and far more collectible. And there is a serial number, which is Papa Mike PM 812497. Unauthorised attempts to repair will render your warranty void. I'd like to see him try on that one now. Also to the side as well, there's the yellow and red audio and video inputs, which I didn't know were there. But yeah, it's just not a nice design. On the back you've got basically an RF and an AC adapter, that's all you've got. But there is very little going for this console. It just doesn't look great. Even the writing on the front smacks of a different age. Horrible, horrible thing. And I don't like it because I don't think it was great. There's a lot of games for it, a lot of good games, a lot of bad games for it. But when I was growing up, it was all about Sega. It was all about the great games that Sega had, that Sega made, the arcade games that Sega produced. Nintendo had their presence in the arcade, but it was all sort of to do with the Play 10, where you had like 10 games on it, like Mario and probably Contra and something else like that. But it just didn't capture the imagination Sega arcade games did. So when you get things like Operation Wolf and Outrun and I'm sorry, I'll probably with bad examples like that came out on the NES, but you know, something like Outrun, for example. You want to play Outrun or Shinobi, you can get those and play those on the Master System. You couldn't do that with the NES, but then again, you couldn't play the NES artwork on the boxes was fantastic. But I just everything about it, even the boxes were great, the controllers were great. It's like too much grey. Show me some colour. Now I have a veritable but small selection of games for it, and again I think 6 of these came at the time. In fact, maybe 5 of these came at the time. 1, 2, 3, about 4 or 5 of these came at the time with the console, which I picked up for about 15 quid. So I didn't do too badly out of it. 15 plus postage. I think I paid 20 quid altogether for it, which I don't think was too bad. But I can even get better examples of it now. People keep finding box ones. So I'll show you the games that I had with it, if I can remember which ones they were, and then I'll show you which ones I purchased separately and going on from there. So the first one is the original one. This is the one that causes all the problems for people because of the stupid landing system, and this is Top Gun. See, even the cartridges are grey. Grey everywhere. Can't show any screenshots, so I'll just show you the back of the cartridge because there's nothing else to show. Yeah, the nerds had a go at this one, I think, basically saying it's a load of rubbish. I played it briefly. I think I played the... Yeah, it was alright. It just looked really weird running something like this on that television. Just looks really awful. Yeah, it's Top Gun. What can you say about Top Gun? Doesn't take your breath away, I suppose. This one's a real belter. I quite like this one. This is Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Off-Road Racing, which again, if you must have played this at some point in your life, whether it was on, if you're very very lucky in the arcade, or if you played it on the Commodore 64 or the Amiga, or any of the home computers, or even you know, this one. I think there was even a Super Off-Road game came out for the Super Nintendo. Great isometric racing game, really good fun, and it had absolutely no right to be a particularly good home conversion because nobody had heard of the arcade game. It just came out of nowhere and knocked everybody around. And you can have 4 players on it as well, which was quite revolutionary because if you remember, there are only 2 controller ports at the front of that. So that was good. That came with it as well. One of my favourite games, actually, one of my favourite sort of genres. I used to love the first one. This is Gauntlet 2, which I Gauntlet. I've also got Gauntlet 2 on a Game Boy as well somewhere. There's the back of the cartridge, showing you very little here of interest. So not a again that's quite. I mean you can't go wrong with Gauntlet in converting it to any system, because it's just impossible to make a mistake on that game. So yeah, nice one, that one. Gauntlet. Next one, a game I don't know an awful lot about. I've played a couple of times, which is Isolated Warrior. Back of the cartridge. Yeah, I played it ages ago. I can't remember anything about it. Again, nice thing that Nintendo did there, putting that so you could stack your cartridges up. And you'll see people do it in other videos, so you can actually see what game it is. That says Gauntlet 2, but you can't read it on that one. And the final game that came with it, which again is probably one of the most common games of all time, this is Super Mario Brothers and the Duck Hunt. And again, this console did come with a zapper as well, which was great. And that's a hulking piece of plastic that, if you've got the zapper for the NES, you'll know what I mean. It's like a real sturdy thing, that one. And just for our Australian viewers, that's the cartridge. And then for everybody back in Europe, that's our cartridge. I'm only joking. And yeah, so what more can you say about it? It's Mario Brothers and it's Duck Hunt. And then on to the 3 games I've purchased for it since I've had it. This one here I was quite happy with. It came on one of these lovely little black covers, which goes on with there, and it's another version of Jurassic Park. How many of these versions of Jurassic Park have I got? Well, that's 3 you've seen now, at least. And again, very nice condition, just beginning to peel off a bit. I think I paid about 3 or 4 quid for that card boot. Bit of muck on the back of that one. But yeah, you can get these sort of like cartridge covers. There are sort of Nintendo branded ones as well, but they just keep the dust out. And the next 2, this one I bought fairly, I bought 2, but fairly recently I bought this one. In fact, probably about 12-18 months ago. Bought it from CEX, and this is Super Mario Brothers 3. Everything I think checks out on this one. I've had to just make sure it wasn't a repro. I think it all checks out properly anyway. Paid a tenner for that one, but that was because I wanted to treat myself to something expensive. Oh, £10. Yes, but yeah, I thought everything about it looks pretty good. The sticker looks accurate. The markings on it look accurate compared to everything else I've got, I think. Yeah. Then again, I could be wrong. I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I'm doubting myself now. I don't know. Anyway, Super Mario Brothers 3. And then finally, it was not long ago, I don't really care now. I got sent this from a guy over in America. He ran a competition on his YouTube channel. I don't think he's broadcasting anymore now, which is a real shame because he's such a nice guy. He's clicked massive amounts of Wii stuff. He sent me a Wii game. He also sent me this as well, as I won his 50 subscriber competition. So this is an American version. So I dare say it's not going to work on my system, but I'm just going to keep it for posterity's sake anyway. It's Super Mario 2. This will be the American version, so I dare say it will be the Lost Levels, what we call it over here, which we refer to it in this country. And a slightly different marking on the back there, the label in the European version. But yeah, so I'm holding on to that one. I know it's an American one, so I shall just be very proud to have it in my collection. And that is it. Yes, that's all I've got time for. Not all I've got time for, that's all I've got to show you on those. So yeah, not a great collection of those, 10 games in total across 2 systems, but I haven't put any time into those. And again, I don't come across stuff like that. If I spent more time probably shopping online, then I would sort of pick up more stuff on that point of view. But as I don't do a lot of online shopping, it doesn't really do something for me. I prefer to go buy my stuff in the flesh. I'm not likely to add too much of those in the near future, but you never know, perhaps one day I will. Anyway, because that's just popped up in the background, there should be something saying that, oh no, that's all folks across the back of that. That'd be quite good, wouldn't it, really? Because that is all folks. Thank you very much indeed for watching that collection video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please do feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and tick the notification bell for further videos when they get uploaded. But in the meantime, until we see each other again, take care. Bye for now.